It was just after 11:10 p.m. August 9th, 2006. Dano Cicero and 4 of his friends pulled up outside the home of John White. According to the White family, this is what it looked like to them. Bright lights shining up their driveway and several angry young men shouting outside.
I was paralyzed with fear. I never felt like that in my life before.
It reminded me of a lynch mob.
It's okay, John.
That's how they acted, calling for my son. When someone wakes you up like that in the middle of the night, you go into a defensive mode. That's what I did.
There would be many disagreements about what happened that night. What is undisputed is that just before he left the garage, John White made a fateful decision. He picked up a loaded .32 caliber pistol that had been handed down to him by his grandfather.
When you walked outside with that gun, were you planning to use it?
No. I wanted to repel them. I wanted them to go away.
As John exited the garage, he was followed closely by Aaron, who picked up one of his father's loaded shotguns. The two then walked down their driveway into what they say was a torrent of abuse.
They were cursing, they were posturing.
What do you mean by that, posturing?
Like,
John White says that you were going like this. Like as in, I'm gonna...
Never. Not once.
Beat you up. Did you ever use any racial epithets?
No.
Dano's friends not only deny using racial slurs, they say their headlights faced away from the house. One of the few things everyone agrees upon is that the argument escalated quickly.
And I told them, you're not taking my son, you're not touching my family, and I turned to go back in the house. And that's when it happened.
What happened?
He reached for my firearm.
Dano did?
Yes. He grabbed at it, and I pulled back, and it went off.
Did you mean to shoot him?
No. Never meant to shoot that young man. Never meant to shoot that young man.
But Dano's friends saw things differently. They say that Dano didn't reach for the gun, but swatted it away, and that John White then raised the gun again and deliberately fired at the unarmed teen.
Is it possible at all that the gun went off accidentally? That in
the
scuffle or the swatting?
The motion of that gun, as Dano hit it down, he brought it back up and shot.
The shot, fired from just a few inches away, traveled through Dano's left cheek up toward his right ear. He collapsed instantly.
When he shot him and I picked him up, all of a sudden I felt warm just going down my whole body, and it was just blood coming down my neck. I looked at my hands and it was like just hot blood all over my body, and that's why I was like, this isn't good. This is really bad.
At 11:13 p.m., just 3 minutes after Dano and his friends had pulled up, the first of 2 cars was captured speeding back down the street. Thomas Maloney followed a minute later in his Ford Cobra, carrying the wounded Dano.
Hello?
Several calls to 911 capture the panic as Maloney drove desperately toward John Mather Hospital, 4 miles away.
It was chaos at that point. It was like I blew every stop sign, every traffic light. I made it from where we were to the hospital. I mean, it felt like in 2 seconds.